Hi guys, my name is Jennifer. I go by the name Lady Jen, and this is I'm a makeup artist actually, and this is my first ever makeup tutorial. Please like and share. Thank you. Guys, welcome. Before we start, I've just washed my face off camera. I'm just gonna go through my skin prep before I put makeup on. So I used the Charlotte Tilbury cleanser, the hydrating magic cleanser. So I've just used that to wash my face off camera, and I've done my brows off camera as well, by the way. So the next step is I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury magic serum. I'm not sure if you can see. Yep, this stuff is amazing. I'm gonna put it on and you're gonna see how instantly it's going to plump my skin. So a little bit goes a long way. So you just go in like that, squeeze it in, and just put it on. Not too much, just that much will do. I'm gonna tell you ladies, run to get this, do not walk. It's amazing. And you are going to see how plumping is going to make my skin look and feel. It's amazing. Ooh, this stuff has really made my skin, and look at that. Do you see that? That is amazing. I love it. That's soaked in. So now I'm gonna go in with my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. This product is amazing. I just go in with a little bit of that, not too much. Just a little bit on the forehead, and there. And just rub it in like so. And then you go in with your Charlotte Tilbury SPF Flawless Poreless Primer. Okay. Again, just rub it all in and allow everything to be soaked into the skin. So now skincare is done. Basically, that's it with skincare. Everything is on, and as you can see, the skin is looking amazing. So now we're going to go into our primer. That is another major step in your makeup routine. You cannot forget your primer. You cannot forget to prime your skin before makeup. Okay, so going on to primer, I tend to use two primers because I've got combination skin. It's entirely up to you, but there is no rule that says you cannot use more than one primer. So sis, do you? If you've got combination skin and you feel like you need to use two primers, do use two primers. If you want to stick to just one primer, that's fine too. But for me, I tend to use two primers. The first one, and I like because I've got combination skin. The first one I like to go in with a Fenty Grip Drip. This is very, very mattifying. This one, and then I put a little bit on my nose like that. And then I go in with one of my all-time favorite primers. It's the almighty Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm. If you do not have this in your makeup kits, girl, you do not know what you're missing. If you want your makeup to stay on all day, all night, this is what you need in your routine. So I just usually just use my finger, just to scoop a bit out like that. And mainly going in my T-zones again, and then on my laugh lines as well, because this is what is going to get rid of your laugh lines. If you get laugh lines when you're doing your makeup, this is what is going to get rid of it. So I just put in a little bit there like that, and then we're gonna use what's left over for the rest of our face. So usually I mainly go in on my laugh line mainly. Sorry, with primer done. So once that is all primed up, you just let it sit onto the skin for about a minute or so before you go in with everything else. Like I did say, that brows is done off camera. I don't usually do a lot to my brows because my brows I've got ombre brows and it's already penciled in. Then I'm just gonna do a little bit of color correcting under my eyes, because as you can see, I've got a little bit of dark under eyes and then around my chin area. So not too much, just a little bit. And I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty color corrector in the shade Papaya. So you can see, that is the Huda Beauty color corrector. So I'm just going to color correct my under eyes, so not too much again. And then you want to avoid going directly straight under the eye. You just want to come a little bit below, so you can blend going up. And then I'll put a little bit here, a little bit there, and then a little bit under my chin. And then I am just going to go in with my damp beauty blender and just blend that in. So again, you're going to blend from the lower upwards, going up like so. Not too much, I said. This is not really meant to conceal your under eyes. It's just meant to do the color correcting. You're gonna go in to do a little bit more of the concealing with your concealer. I'm going to use the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder just to set the color corrector before we go in with the foundation, and I'm going to use my Fenty Beauty powder puff, so you dust off the excess with the back of your hand, and then not too much, just a little bit, just to set it so it doesn't transfer onto, it doesn't mix with the foundation basically. Now color correcting is done, the face is looking all evened out. Let's go in with our foundation. Okay, so actually, do you know what? Let's do the eyes first before we do the rest of the face, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. So I'm just going to prep my eyes. Just gonna keep it very, very simple. So I'm just gonna get a flat brush to start with and a bit of my Born This Way concealer. So I'm just gonna put just a little bit on my eyes, ready for the eyeshadows to go on top of it. Looking really, really nice. Again, I like to set the concealer on the top of my lids before I put any of the eyeshadow on. So I'm going to use again the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, and then my Fenty Beauty powder puff, just to set the eyes before I put in the eyeshadows. Okay, so now that the top of the lid is prepped, we're going to go into our transition shade. So for the transition shade, I normally go in with my bronzer. Basically, I normally just use the same shade I use to bronze my faces to do my transition shade. And I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless, the airbrush bronzer in the shade 4 Deep, just to do the transition shade. With the same brush, I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker color, you know, just to match my outfit. I'm using the MAC Smutty Pants palette, just to go in a little bit of shine and color to match the outfit. I'm not sure if you can really see it. Sorry. Oh, that is amazing. That is absolutely gorgeous, actually. So with another brush, I'm just going to get a little bit of a lighter shade, just to make the eyes pop a little bit in the corners of the eye. So and then we're just going to do the correct, well, blend it a bit more with that shimmer shade again, coming into the corners of the eye. And that's it. So now we're going to go into foundation. Okay, so foundation, I'm going to use well, I wouldn't say brand new, but for me it is, because I've just switched over to Charlotte Tilbury. So for me, I'm going to be using the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. This foundation claims to stay on all day and all night, and I do believe Charlotte, because Charlotte has never let me down in any of her products. So I'm super excited to be using this. Anyway, this is the bottle, and I am using the shade 14 Neutral. So I'm just going to get my foundation brush. I'm going to pump a little bit on the back of my hand, because this, I hear a little bit of this goes a long way. So I'm just going to do one pump first on the back of my hand. That's it there. And then I'm going to take my foundation brush, and then I'm just going to go in like so, and then just start applying. Oh no, a bit more. And again, I really don't like putting a lot of products under my eye, so I tend to leave my under eyes when I'm applying foundation, so I don't get too many products under the eye for the under eyes to get cakey. Okay, so once foundation is all blended in seamlessly, we are going to go in with our bronzer, and well, to contour and to highlight the rest of our face. So for contour, I'm not really a contour girly. I like to bronze more. So I tend to go in with a deep bronzer to contour. So with that, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun Kiss Glow Bronzer. This is a cream bronzer and I'm using this in a shade deep, 4 Deep. I'm not sure if you can see. And this is how it looks. Oh, very, very beautiful. So I'm just going to use my Made by Mitchell brush just to and then placement in terms of bronzer and contour, where this is supposed to go, this is meant to go right underneath your cheekbone. So I like to place it right here. When you put your finger there where your bone ends, that's where it goes, and not too much, just a little bit like so. And then on the same thing on the other side, just a little bit underneath the cheekbone like so. Yeah, and then you go in on your forehead, on each side of the forehead, and then one side there and one side there, and then you go in on your jawline, not below the jawline, not above the jawline, right on the jawline, basically right on top of the jawline. So I mean, you are going to blend this in, you're going to get some go a little bit above and below it, but just try and get it right on top of the jawline like so. Already you can see the illusion that it's trying to create. Already you can see that it has actually just changed the whole shape of my face. I'm not sure if you can see. Yeah, so once that is placed in, we're just going to go ahead and just blend it all in. I'm just going to turn so you can see placements. All right, so we're just going to go in with the same brush. We're just going to go in and blend upwards to lift the face. So we're just blending upwards to lift the face. Okay, so once that is blended in or seamlessly without any hash lines, just make sure that you don't have any hash lines. Once it's all blended in, we are going to go in with our cream or liquid blush. So today I am going to use the Charlotte Tilbury. I'm not sure if you can see the Charlotte Tilbury, the Pillow Talk matte blush. That is in Pillow Talk. I think the shade is Dream Pop. That's the shade I'm going to use, Dream Pop, and that's the Charlotte Tilbury one. So I'm just going to use that. Actually, no, I'm going to do 3. Actually, I'm just going to do 3. Now I look crazy. Let me just blend it all in so I don't look too crazy. Just going to use the other side of my beauty blender. I'm going to use a beauty blender to blend it in this time. That's a bit better. And you know, I love to put a little bit of the blush on my nose as well, the leftover just on my nose, so it blends in. We're going to go in with our concealer, and I am so excited to try the new Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Concealer. I'm not sure if you can see. Yes, yes, look at the packaging, so lush. But I mean, Charlotte Tilbury does not do less when it comes to packaging. Everything looks amazing. So I am using the shade 11 Tan, so I'm just gonna use this, and this one a little bit goes a long way, so I'm not gonna use too much. I'm just gonna start off small and then we just build it up if we need to, see how it goes. So again, not applying it directly under the eye, so staying away from right under the eye, and then we're just gonna blend it. This is shade 11. You don't have to use shade 11. I just love a bright under eye, so I went in for the 11. I think it's 11 Tan. I think they have 11.5 and then 12. So if you don't really like a bright under eye like I do, you can go in for the 11.5 or 12 if you're my skin tone, and it's going to work very, very well with you as well. But I love a bright under eye, so I tend to go in bright. I'm gonna start off with my chin. I want to do my under eyes last because as soon as I do my under eyes, I just want to be setting everything off. So I'm just gonna be doing my chin first. Oh, this is very, very pigmented and full coverage. Wow. Just taking away the excess that we had from the brush, and I do love this concealer. Right, I'm not going to lie. I love it. I think it's beautiful. Okay, so now that we are all blended in, I am going to go in with my powders. Actually, no, let me set my under eye first before we do the powders. So with the under eye setting, I'm going to go in with the first. I'm gonna go in with a Huda Beauty Easy Bake in the shade Blondie. I'm not sure if you can see. I'm just gonna go in with that, and I'm just gonna go with my Fenty Beauty powder puff. Again, dust off a bit of the excess and just go right in on my under eye. We do this quickly because we do not want any creasing up under the eye once we put the concealer there. Now we're going to set our forehead, basically everywhere that we put the concealer. We are just going to set that into place. So now I'm going to go in with a powder bronzer to just bronze where I use the liquid bronzer, and you know, just to bring a bit of a structure back to my face. I need to do the powder bronze or the contour of my nose as well. Tidy that up a bit more. So I am going to go in with my powder blush, and today we are using Fenty Beauty blush. It's the one that's got a little bit of a shimmer in it. I'm not sure if you can see. Yeah, and this is in the name Brick number 14. So we're just gonna go into that little bit of that. Oh, love it. Oh, look at that. Do you see that? Do you see that? That is amazing. I love it. Ooh. But it's looking beautiful. Okay, so now to set the rest of our face, I am going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder in the shade 4 Deep. Oh, if I can get it open. So that's how that looks. And we're going to do that with a big fluffy brush. And we're just going to set the whole of our face together. I'm going to use, I am going to use the Smarty Pants, the darker shades that I used for my brows. I'm just going to use it to just smoke the under eye just a little bit. And then once that is done, I'm just going to go in with a waterline just to like so. And I'm just going to bring it in into the corner of the eye. Yeah, so that is it with the eyes. And then I'm just going to do the lip combo, and then I'm going to brighten it under the eyes, and then we're done. Yeah, that's about it. And then we are going to use MAC lipstick in the shade, oh, is it Impulsive? Yes, I got it. Impulsive. So it's a nude color. Very just gonna, and then I'm gonna go in with my butter gloss next, just in the center of the lips. That's it with the lips. And then I'm just gonna go in with my Makeup Forever lip plumping gloss, and just look at how it transforms the whole lip combo. It's amazing. I love this. Okay, so now I am going to do mascara on the bottom. Actually, no, before we do mascara, we're just gonna I'm just gonna brighten my under eye first. So I am going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Brightening Flawless Powder. Just quickly brighten it under eye. I am going to use, actually, do you know what? I am going to use a brush to do this. I'm just going to use a very small fluffy brush just to do this. I'm not going to use a powder puff. Just dust off the excess. Because if you remember clearly, I did say I love a bright under eye. So and that's about it. I'm just going to set the whole of my face. First, setting spray, again, Charlotte Tilbury airbrush flawless setting spray. Literally just drench your whole face in it. Get a fun. So once that is dried, I'm gonna go in with my Charlotte Tilbury matte finishing powder. Spray out first, and then lastly, I'm gonna go with my One Size setting spray. That's the One Size Until Dawn setting spray. Again, shake it, give it a bit spray out. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go with my Fenty Beauty Hella Thick mascara just for the bottom lashes. I like to do this step last. And we're done. This is a full face. I really hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Let me know in the comment section if there's any products that you want me to try, if there's any questions, if there's any other techniques that you want to share with me. But yes, thank you very much for staying through with me through till the end of my video. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.